Hello, everybody. Good morning and welcome back to the show. And today we are honored to have in the house with us Dr. Lipakshi Arora Khurana, a celebrated news anchor turned transformational life coach and spiritual leader whose journey is beautifully bridging between the media, mindfulness, and meaningful living. So, welcome you on the show. And I would request you to have a few words you can share about yourself with the audience so they can relate well with you. You're on the screen, ma'am.
All right. Thank you, Dr. Aarti. Thank you so much for having me here. I'm so excited to be here today. For those who may not know me, I began my career as a primetime news anchor, spending years in various channels, doing various shows. But life had another calling for me, so a journey inwards right from the beginning when I was very, very young. I used to read all non-fiction books, and they used to really, they used to actually, I used to feel a lot of interest in them. And then books like Celestine Prophecy and The 10 Insights by James Redfield. So it seeks to help humanity. At that time, I used to think about all this and say I was in my early teens, maybe. And that is the time I realized that life is beyond our fears, and there's something more than the normal life. And it was that time I recognized that there is one superpower, one universal energy that kind of we need to recognize signs and understand past lives and evolve to a greater purpose. So that is the time when I started believing that there are no coincidences in life. Everything is planned by the Almighty.
And that's very true. I actually believe in the same statement. So let's just dive into your journey. I actually want to know more about you. So I would start from asking the question that okay, so from time to this prime time to this time that you realize, okay, the inner consciousness is very, very important because you have been working on the camera and then as a senior news anchor so far, leading different news networks. How do you actually imagine your journey? How do you actually think that this has shaped the media has shaped your journey into the spiritual leader that you are also doing that along with your anchoring, right? So if you could just brief us about that.
So, Dr. Aarti, I feel they're very intertwined actually. Though one looks very, one profession looks very, very celebrity kind of a profession where you are an extrovert, but I'm in reality an introvert. I speak very less. And my years in news were, of course, about, talking, about being in the lights, about voicing people's stories, about, informing the people about what's all going on in the world. But sitting under those bright lights taught me discipline, it taught me clarity, it uh, made me more receptive to whatever is happening. And I realized that the most important story is the one which we tell ourselves quietly every single day. So I remember nights of when I used to do prime time, and we used to break news when the studio was all under mess. There's a producer who's bizarring into your ears, and the EP saying something, and everything is going on. Everything is in a full chaos at the background, and you are projecting clean. You are totally in that presence of noise. You are just exhibiting silence, and you're exhibiting exuberance, you're exhibiting warmth at that time. So I discovered that presence and silence, and today I carry both the worlds with me very I think I'm able to do it, the procession of journalism and the compassion of spiritual practice, helping people rewrite their inner narratives with authenticity and courage now.
Of course, you're doing it beautifully. You're very decently doing it, I'm sure. And so when I actually came across your profile, I was like, okay, there are two different things, two different talents on the same plate. I don't know how somebody would actually manage this because they are two different worlds
So there's a
totally.
very interesting story, Dr. Aarti. I'm sorry to interrupt in between, but I was very, very young, say about maybe 7, 8 years old, when all these old-time news anchors of Doordarshan, that was the time when Doordarshan was the only
Yes.
channel.
Yeah.
And we used to just idolize Salma Sultana and Meenu Talwar, Shami Naran, all these
Yeah.
people who are icons in the news industry. And I was very, very young when my mom and I were watching TV, and the news was on, and she said, and Salma Sultana ji was on air. So she said, she used to call me, she still calls me Gudia. And she said, Gudia, kitna acha hoga na that one day you are there, right there on the TV reading news. I think universe just heard it.
Yeah, I guess
So
it's as part of manifestation and law of attraction that you
yes.
that you yeah. All right, so very interesting. So let me just move to this. The most curious part of your journey is Akashic records, right? So the soul
Yeah.
library, for those who are unfamiliar with this term, if you could just explain us or take us walk through the what does it actually mean when we talk about Akashic recording, and how do you think that this can actually transform or give clarity to somebody in their personal life, or you can also talk about healing, and how does it actually work for people?
Yeah. So as I told you, all this started very early, and then I did courses after courses in life coaching. But there was more, there was something more which was calling me, and I wanted to go deeper. So I knew about Akashic records, and I thought of delving into it as well. So Akashic records are basically soul's journey. It's a soul's library. It's that vast energetic field holding every thought, feeling, and experience across lifetimes. So the concept was actually popularized by this American psychic Edgar S. Cayce in the 20th century. And he spoke about a cosmic archive of all universal events, thoughts, and emotions, which are all right there in the universe, in the 5D world. So we live in the 3D world, and all this is already there in the 5D world. So, accessing them isn't something like fortune telling. It's about uncovering the wisdom and patterns that guide us towards healing, and with a conscious choice, of course. The first time, in fact, I accessed my own records, I'd felt like I'd come home. For clients, also, it can be very transformative. So, it's like every soul remembers everything. It's just lying in our unconscious and our subconscious. So, it's tapping into your subconscious and kind of reviving the old patterns, old memories, and just knowing that where was the pattern, where were things undone, where were things left undone, and where what the kind of going back to that moment and healing that. So there was one woman who kept repeating painful relationships to me, and through her records, we uncovered an ancestral abandonment wound. And the moment she saw that, she cried. It was like a puzzle piece clicking in. So within months, she was able to solve everything. That's besides okay, but yeah, it's beautiful. It's just going back to your own home.
Yeah, very interesting actually. And this is one of the most fascinating topics for me nowadays because I have been into spirituality and I've been looking at how you can relate yourself much better. You can understand what your soul wants, what's your soul's journey so far. So I was going through some podcast in the recent times. I actually go through different podcasts on spirituality, and I came across this term which
Right.
is called cord cutting because
Yeah.
every soul has its own journey, right? You're here for some purpose, not for the materialistic purpose because of which we are actually majorly involved in life, but beyond that.
Yeah.
So what is cord cutting according to you? Why is it important, I believe, and then how do you actually think that you can actually heal your energy through this process?
So, Dr. Aarti, actually, Akashic and cord cutting also quite intertwined. I mean, not really, but that they are, because in Akashic also you go back to whatever patterns, whatever lives you've lived, and you are guided by your masters to heal those patterns or rewrite them. So that is a very, very interesting thing, because you can rewrite and kind of heal whatever trauma you're going through in your current lives. So, cord cutting is also a very gentle yet very, very profound practice, because we kind of form invisible energetic cords with people, their experience, even our past version of ourselves. So, some nourish us, some kind of, trap us in pain. So, it's like, you cut energy cords with them, energetically with symbols. So these are all attunement practices, even Akashic and cord cutting. And once you are attuned, you can kind of cut the cords and relieve yourself and release yourself from the patterns. So there are symbols involved, and they're very, very powerful. So there was a client, in fact, who had years, even after years of breakup, she could not, stop her the voice in her head. She was always troubled. So only after a cord cutting session, you experience that freedom. And there are various ways of cord cutting. You can do it for a relationship. You can do it for a tense career. You can do it with money, where you're very stuck in your money energy. You can do it in various fields. Even you can kind of do it for your children who are stuck up in various things. Like I did it for my children because I was so fearful about them. So it kind of helps you there also.
Right, because I mean, for somebody who is not much into consideration for this kind of concern, I guess it will be a very different topic for them. But somebody who has linked to it, or somebody who's trying to understand this process, I believe I mean, I totally can understand how relationships and traumas can be cured by this process, right? So,
It's
and I,
absolutely miraculous the way I have seen things happening. It's actually miraculous. Of course, the higher power is there, but these there are symbols which can help you kind of unlock and tap into that beautiful, beautiful journey.
Yeah, because recently, I mean, of course, I have been having a lot of podcasts in the past few months, and I came across, fortunately, with some tarot card readers where I used to believe, I don't say I don't believe it, but the way they actually explained everything very beautifully was totally intertwined with what is actually happening in life. And that was a moment I realized, okay, yeah, it actually works. And they can also guide you in the future, right? Not exactly, but what you can do to make your future better, or you can also manifest in
Yes.
the right way. I guess that's a very
Yes.
beautiful process. If anybody who is having any kind of issues or watching the podcast, they can actually look at for the right guidance. Anybody around them,
Yes.
maybe Dr. Lipakshi, you can consult her, get in touch with her, or maybe if somehow some kind of some help can be given to you to have a better future or a simple, easy, peaceful life. Yeah, okay. So, talking about your news and narrative, you as a very good communicator, a communication expert who handles both the news reporting and the conscious communication that we have been talking about. So, how do you see your roles and your languages, your storytelling evolving in today's media and the spiritual spaces at the same time?
Okay. So, Dr. Hardik, in newsrooms, there's a single word in a headline can change public perception, because, a single word can change the meaning of the line. That awareness itself, I feel, it showed me how language shapes reality. So, and later, in fact, when I started my spiritual journey and I started, doing courses after courses in life coaching and inner child healing and Akashic, I realized the same thing happens inwardly also. The way we talk to ourselves actually becomes a reality. That talking to ourselves become inner headlines, So the way you tell yourselves, like maybe I'm not good enough, I always fail, or I always get stuck, or money is always a problem with me. These kind of lines, these stories loop, and they kind of form a vicious circle until we consciously change them. So today people want more than information. They seek resonance in words that touch the heart. So in fact, in media, storytelling influences. In spiritual work also, storytelling transforms. So this conscious communication, both the ways, and both the things get bridged. It informs, inspires, and ultimately you learn how to change your life, how to heal your life.
Yeah, and at the same time, just try to be positive, attract positivity, have gratitude, right? Appreciate what you have in life.
Of course.
Look at the mirror,
Of
talk
course,
to
the
yourself,
only
right? That's the
yes.
basic technique of
Yes.
trying to
Mirror talk is
yeah.
mirror talk is something which is actually magical again, because it changes your entire perception of yourself. The first thing in the morning, I would say everybody should do it. Go to the mirror. When you go to the washroom, also just tell yourself that I'm the best. And
Yeah.
even if you do that every single day, your life transforms magically.
Okay, so for how many days somebody, if they want to see a very significant change, so how many days they should actually continue this practice? Minimum how
So
many days?
I would say, see, 21 days is the minimum to kind of inculcate any practice into your subconscious. So that is the minimum you should do. Like even for Akashic, whenever, because I'm an Akashic mentor also, and I give certification for Akashic. So even for Akashic, when we attune somebody, we tell them that 21 days you have to act, go to the Akasha every day, do that meditation, and access your records every day, so that you get intertwined with the practice. For anything, I believe 21 days is the
21 days.
minimum time.
Yeah, yeah.
Of course, they say that 3 months is the time where it ultimately gets into your blood.
Form a habit, right? Okay. Fine. So this makes me think of the recent process that we have been following for gratitude, or for trying to get over what we've done in the past, like trying to heal our own self. So I talk about this Ho'oponopono prayer, right? There's a prayer which is very famous nowadays on social media. Wherever you scroll, you get to know this kind of practice. So healing conversations, you often that you work ultimately using this Ho'oponopono prayer and the inner child healing concept. So how do you actually practice this, and how do you think the coaching styles can actually integrate this practice, and then ultimately you can help connect with your supreme power, also the purpose of life, and also the energy that you already ultimately have within yourself?
So, Dr. Aarti, I believe that Ho'oponopono again and inner child healing is also, they just go hand in glove, because Ho'oponopono is a Hawaiian practice, and it might seem very, very simple, with these 4 lines. I'm sorry, please forgive me, thank you, I love you. But then these 4 lines are so profound. They're so profound, because I don't know if you know about the story, how Ho'oponopono came into existence, because there was this doctor who was in Hawaii, and who actually practiced it on a prison full of mentally ill people. And people had actually given up on those mentally sick people, because they were so afraid of them. They used to kind of, whosoever used to work, they used to run away, because people were sick and tired of them. But then this doctor said, okay, I will do something. And he just asked for the files of these criminals. They were like hardcore criminals, okay, with a of course, mentally sick. And he just asked for the files of these criminals, and he did not even meet them. And he used to just read one file, and he used to practice Ho'oponopono. And believe me, this is just a true story, that within 2 years, that prison was shut, because all the criminals were released. Their mental framework, their attitude, everything changed. So that is the power of this practice. So it is basically a Hawaiian practice of forgiveness, where you kind of forgive yourself and you forgive others. And when you forgive yourself and you forgive others, there's a huge vacuum which is created inside you, and the new energy flows there.
Wow, that's amazing, actually.
So
And I, yeah, please, sorry, please continue.
So even inner child healing, is like connecting with your own inner self, your younger self, which is like your soul, your inner self, which we kind of just forget. Inner child healing starts right from the time when it starts from the womb healing, when you were conceived by your mother in her womb. So that is the time we start taking traumas, and the things which start triggering us. So now we don't remember all those things, because when we grow, we kind of forget everything. But the moment we do inner child healing, we go back to our younger self. And it's again very magical that you are able to tap your subconscious and remember the various things which are still stuck in your head. And because the things stay stuck in your head, the pattern keeps on repeating. Again, a vicious cycle. The pattern keeps on repeating and troubling you in the present times. So Ho'oponopono is something which softens the heart, and inner child healing is something to restore the joy and authenticity within yourself.
I also heard somewhere, or I was actually reading some book where it was mentioned that just to get over your karmic bonds, also those who are troubling you at the moment, it's better to go ahead with this prayer, because that also helps you heal yourself. And in case you want to have a break with those ties, maybe so of course you can have more relationship in the future. For example, divorce. If you are not able to have proper peaceful life with somebody at the moment, you can still have divorce, but give yourself adequate time to heal before getting into a new
Yes.
relationship, because it can be a vicious cycle again and again, the way you're talking. Yeah. So
Yes. So, Dr. Aarti, the main thing is that Ho'oponopono is of various types. So, there is a simple Ho'oponopono prayer, and there is a quantum Ho'oponopono, where we kind of pray on our feelings, emotions. And that is where what you're saying comes in place. Because when we prey on our emotions, then that is the time we kind of liberate ourselves from whatever patterns we are kind of repeating, and we are stuck into. So once we release those patterns, that is that again, a glass full of water will not take in anything, but the moment you clean it, just do away with that water, a fresh energy can come in. So that is how Ho'oponopono, inner child healing, everything works, because everything is in our mind, everything.
Right. That's actually very nice, amazing, actually wonderful. So, to anybody who might be listening to the podcast, I'm sure if they had any doubts in mind, they would have more clarity after going through this podcast. Thanks to you, of course. So, okay, so talking about purpose, presence, and public speaking, you have been honored with different awards, various awards in your life, in your lifespan. One of them is the best CCS speaker and the voice contributor for the visually impaired, which is again wonderful because if you contribute in that section, that's really incredible. So, what's your advice for those who are looking to communicate with more impact, whether on screen or on stage or in their everyday lives?
So again, Dr. Aarti, I feel that whether you're on stage, whether you're communicating to a loved one, whether you're communicating to your own self, it isn't about perfection. It's about your presence. So one of the biggest lessons, in fact, I've learned over the years is that the teleprompter is not, of course, is your best friend as an anchor, I would say, but then something which comes from your heart is really meaningful. Something which comes from your heart, and you can directly speak that with whoever you're speaking to either to your audience or to your relationships, in your relationships, to your children, to your spouse, to the various people around you. So that sincerity, is very, very important. And public speaking is about expressing your ideas, expressing yourself in the most beautiful way. And it's not necessary. I mean, I know that everything cannot be flawless. There are times when you fumble. There are times when your heart races. Every time you go on air, you have a moment where your heart races. So I think it's all fine. It's just telling your mind that it's uh, communication is the best thing, where communication actually solves every problem. Even if you don't talk about news reading, if even if we talk about our relationship, communication solves all the problems. So I believe once you are good at your communication, it solves everything. And same with public speaking. If it's the most easiest thing to do, provided that you are comfortable with your own thoughts. And if your thoughts are structured, I think everything falls in place. In fact, I'm taking classes for public speaking and communication. I'm a personality development coach also, and it's beautiful to take. Especially youngsters, I've been taking a lot, and the moment when I see them bloom, it's a very beautiful feeling.
Yeah,
In
that's very
fact,
true.
my work with the visually impaired also showed me this truth that impact isn't about appearance. It's about the authenticity we carry, the energy we carry, because there everything is around your voice. So, and there again, emotions play a much, much greater role.
Of course, if you with the right communication, you clearly express yourself, and I mean, the thought has to be very structured, but of course, you can clearly open up and discuss. So that's where you feel light and better. So okay, so I'm actually
Yeah.
enjoying the conversation with you. It's an amazing podcast so far, but I understand you have a very busy schedule, so I won't hold you much. Any last advice or suggestion you would like to give to our audience? Yeah, I would just
As
request
a
you to go
wrap
ahead.
up, I feel yeah, as a wrap up, I feel that I want to just remind everyone that you are the storyteller of your own life. No matter what your past headlines have been, you can always rewrite your narrative with courage, love, presence, and persistence. So be resilient in whatever you're doing. Practice whatever you're doing, whatever. Simple prayer with your own heart and a belief and faith in the Almighty can change everything. Change the inner dialogue. Change whatever you're talking to your own self. Be aware of your own thoughts. And remember, it's even if you're not perfect, you just should be there. You should take action and feel blessed all the time.
That's very precise, very on point, and it's very comprehensive, very well full of clarity. So I hope people could just try to have this in their life, try to inculcate this kind of habit in their life. And thank you so much once again for being on the show, I for sharing your profound information, insight, knowledge, talking about your transformational tools. And I'm sure anybody who's listening to this postcard would also feel valued, feel inspired, and feel they have a lot of clarity now, depending on different topics we discussed today in the podcast. And they also understand the importance of self-expression, the authentic expression of yourself. So thank you so much once again. It was nice to meet you, and I wish you all the best. You have been doing
Thank
an
you
amazing
so
job.
much, Dr. Adi. Thank you for having me over, and it was lovely, lovely catching up with you.
Thank you so much. Have a very good day.
Good day.
All right, so this was within the house, Dr. Lipakshi Arora with us today, and I would personally thank her. My heartfelt thanks to her for finding on time from a busy schedule. Thank you for illuminating this conversation with such a wisdom and depth, and we trust our listeners are leaving with renewed inspiration to pursue healing, clarity, and true self-expression in their own journey. For other details, I'll actually post her handles on the social media, so you can contact her directly for any kind of guidance and any kind of coaching, mentoring. She has been handling that on her pages on social media. So I hope you enjoyed the podcast, and it was really a good takeaway from today's session. And once again, thank you so much for being on the show. And I hope it was a really enlightening conversation for me and for anybody who is coming across this podcast. All right, so I'll see you next time, same place, same time, with a fresh guest on the channel. Till then, take care of yourself, keep growing, keep healing, stay strong. And this is your host signing off. Take care, have a good day.